And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
There's a man going round taking names, and he decides who to free and who to blame. Everybody won't be treated all the same. There'll be a golden ladder reaching down when the man comes around.
Yeah, here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEA beautiful studios of Freedom's with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. We're talking about, you know, the man coming around, know what I mean? Because he be coming. And this is the one thing I want to talk about. Imagine this. You're elected mayor of your town. You're going to go do what the people want. I mean, they said, you know, I vote you. I vote you, go get them, all right? In the last meeting that the city council and the mayor has before they, you know, bring it into the, you know, the new council takes over, they go, you know what we're doing? We're stripping the mayor of any ability to do anything. He can't see any financial records. He can't. And I'm going, wow, I mean, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know right there. Going into council chambers, you know, all of a sudden, he's arrested. And who's going to do anything about it? You know, you have officers asking, you know, look, man, I'm being told to be somebody's thug and goon, sends letters to the county attorney. County attorney calls the police chief and says, hey, man, this guy's causing a ruckus. He should be talking to the city attorney that we all know is corrupt and part of the problem to begin with. This is how it works, man. And I got to tell you this. You look at, you know, the science behind it doesn't matter, but if you have a big glass hologram, you know, that has a 3D image of something, and you take that mirror and you break it, you pick up a small piece from the corner, it'll have the entire image, just a smaller version of it. That's lasers and wide and whatever. But the point is that if you want to know how the big, giant government, we rule you mindset of the planet works, all you got to do is look at a small, itty-bitty version of government in some place like Quartzite, and you see exactly the same people in exactly the same types of situations, doing exactly the same stereotypical thing, just on a small scale. So you just multiply county attorney, United States Supreme Court, hell, a world court. You know, you want to see, you know, police chief, you know, Janet Napolitano, Homeland Security. I mean, there's no difference. It's just different scale, and they think the same. And the people at the state level, while, you know, the people in the states are screaming at the federal government to take care of the borders or take care of this or protect us from, you know, whatever, well, the cities go to the state and say, aren't you supposed to be doing that job? Protect the communities here? Isn't there somebody that we go to that violation of? No! They're there to protect the system of theft. They don't want to expose it because they're part of it. Much larger than you think. Quartzite, in the middle of the desert, sits on a big, giant, humongous lake. It's all about the water. And you look up in northeastern Arizona where Senator Karen Johnson lives now. She's going, Ernie, it's all about the water up here. So I'll guarantee you this has a lot more to do with something that's under the ground than they know. Yeah, here we go. Now the argument for creating Quartzite, one of them was, we need to protect water rights. We need to protect the water and access to the people that live here. We need that. What would they do? They created a mechanism by which they could use to take it. I see it so many, when you get old enough and you're an activist long enough, you pay attention, you see the trends, you know the people involved, you see the same thing over and over and over and over. Now, let's go ahead and get to Ed Foster. I want to make sure that we understand when you went and you were arrested as mayor, what were you arrested for? Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I was arrested for interfering in the arrest of Jennifer Jones. She was being arrested for the 4th time since she had filed a lawsuit for the town. I informed the chief. I said, what, are you crazy? Are you trying to give her and her attorney a field day in court? I thought that was good advice in trying to protect the citizens of Quartzite from further lawsuits. And he took that personally and arrested me.
Okay. Now, this chief, it sounds like, man, there's something going on here. This guy's got, you know, some, you know, his mind ain't right, okay? What kind of person is it? Where'd he come from? How the heck did he get this position? And somebody's supporting him being there. I guarantee it. You don't have guys like this, and they maintain this position that long without there's some kind of protection racket going on.
There's something going on, but there's something. He and the town manager have an arrangement or whatever, and they run the town. He has told people that he runs Quartzite, the chief, not the town manager, not the mayor, but the chief of police runs
It
Quartzite.
always comes down to the gun.
Yes.
Okay, so there were people that approached officers that are there. You have a total of the police force there. It's a very small town, but I mean, of course, all of a sudden, a dozen local police doesn't seem that many when you got 500,000 people show up in the winter. But it's been peaceful and been problems for years and decades and whatever, and all of a sudden now the only problem is complaining about the government. Now, what happens is you had several of the people say, you know what, we don't want this guy in charge. Now, how many are for the police chief and the police department? How many are against him?
Well, we have the Quartzite 10, we're calling them. There were 9 officers and the clerk in the office have signed a letter of no confidence and actually alleging felony crimes on the part of the chief of police. The Attorney General must be all over it then. No, the Attorney General's not interested.
Of course not.
I spent a day at the governor's office. I got there very early in the morning asking, because when you have 2 separate police forces like we do now, we have 10 people against the chief and 4 other officers. That's not good for public safety. I mean, I've had meetings now, the near riot situation, that I have to be careful because I have armed officers on either side of the situation, and I walk away from it rather than inciting it any further because I don't want violence. I went to the governor. I said, I have a concern for public safety. They directed me over to the Attorney General's office. I walked down the street. I went into the Attorney General's office. I sat there, an investigator, not an attorney, an investigator come to talk to me and said, well, really, we can't start an investigation. We take legal side of it, but we don't do investigation. They sent me back to the governor's office. I went there and I sat in a conference room for 4 hours while they assigned me to constituent services. And late in the afternoon, they finally came to me and said, well, the governor can't do anything for you either. They said, you should go to your county attorney. So I went back to the officers and I discussed that, and they told me a story how one of their officers had called the county attorney's office because he thought the chief's orders were violating people's civil rights, and he was concerned. And instead of doing something about it, the county attorney sent an email to the chief suggesting that the officer contact our town attorney. Well, that was just a red flag in front of the chief. And since these 10 officers have come forward about, my arrest started it. One of the officers' boyfriend worked for Public Works, had the highest job performance ratings that the director of Public Works had ever given. He was fired yesterday.
Why?
He took a picture of a squad car. Now in Quartzite, we have the red bands and the blue bands. The red bands are supporting the Quartzite 10. The blue bands are supposed to be supporting the 4 officers and the chief. One of the 4 officers had a blue ribbon on his squad car. I mean, that's a no-no. You're not supposed to be doing political things on your squad car. This guy took a picture of it. He got fired. Officer Norris, that was her boyfriend that got fired. Her sister is town clerk. Her sister is under administrative review right now. They're after anyone that's associated with these 10 officers who are asking that civil rights be respected in Quartzite.
Wow.
Barry, help me out here,
It's just beyond the pale. But you know why the state government's not going to help you is because if they come down into Quartzite and say, we can't have corruption there, that's going to set a precedent for them to say, well,
exactly.
We have corruption here.
What standard are they going to use to enforce the Constitution? And whatever standard that they enforce and they get all holier than thou, well, the mirror is going to look pretty ugly. So I already know where this goes, and I'm telling you, it's not a pretty sight, but we're not going away. And it looks like now we have the universe watching. Yeah, well, it's going to get dirty.